Cruz is out, Kasich is out, and anyone considering voting for Hillary Clinton must be out of his mind. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr, and in the book Riell Truth Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, once in a while a picture on Facebook just stops me in my tracks. And I had such a moment this morning. Beautiful picture. You got three women standing on a sidewalk, a whole bunch of people there, they're having some kind of rally. Three women holding signs. Two of the women are holding signs that say, "Women for Trump." The third woman is holding a sign that says, "Hillary, my dog has a vagina. Should she be president?" It's a good question. It's a question on which may well hang the future of the United States of America, and hence the world. Does a vagina qualify someone to be president? My friends, if you're laughing, if you're snickering, you can stop now, because there are an awful lot of our fellow Americans who believe it does. Now, you can describe these Americans in a variety of ways. Call them liberals, call them progressives. I prefer to call them lame brains and dead weight. They're people who are either ignorant of the facts or just plain stupid. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Someone's genitalia in no way qualifies him or her to be president, just like the color of one's skin or one's ethnicity does nothing to qualify or disqualify someone. And there are a lot of people out there who are going to vote for Hillary Clinton because they want a woman president. Well, you know what? A woman president wouldn't be bad. But not this woman. Because this woman is a liar. She's a criminal. She is on the take. She lies fluently. She viciously has attacked women who were molested, allegedly, by her husband. I mean, Hillary Clinton is a disaster. But then again, allegedly, reportedly, she's got a vagina, and so maybe she'd be a great president. My friends, it's stupid. And that word, stupid, may also be a deciding factor in the future of the United States of America, because we've got so many people who either are stupid or who will vote for anyone who promises free stuff that we're about to sink. It's Riell Truth. It's Wednesday. We'll be back.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
Schlotsky's Deli in Fort Collins reminds listeners, the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to our country. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty and salute those who serve today. This reminder from Schlotsky's Deli at 4212 South College Avenue in Fort Collins. Check out daily specials or call for delivery, 970-226-1711. That's 970-226-1711. Great people, great food, great service. Call today. Schlotsky.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
My good friends, welcome back. Crushing victory last night by Donald Trump, punctuated by the departure of Ted Cruz, Lion Ted Cruz, the departure today of John Kasich. You know, I had to be reminded that, oh yeah, Kasich was in the race, because he was such a non-factor from the word go that he just never figured into it. Anyway, let's get started here. Here's Donald Trump being interviewed this morning on The Morning Joe. Okay, that's one of the cable shows. Now, what you have to know is this. The people on The Morning Show, or The Morning Joe, it's on, what was it, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, one of those, they don't like Trump. They don't like conservatives or Republicans. They are a pro-Hillary group. So keep that in mind when they're asking the questions, because their questions are going to be kind of insulting, but Trump is more than up to the task. Let's listen.
This has been an amazing evening. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it. And what Ted did is really a very brave thing to do, and a great thing to do, because we want to bring unity to the Republican Party. We have to bring unity. It's so much easier if we have it. We're going after Hillary Clinton. She will not be a great president. She will not be a good president. She will be a poor president. She doesn't understand trade. Her husband signed, perhaps in the history of the world, the single worst trade deal ever done. It's called NAFTA.
Joining us now, the winner of last night's primary in Indiana, now the likely nominee for the Republican Party, Donald Trump. Donald, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good morning.
Hey, Donald, why don't you just admit to everybody that you never saw this coming? I mean, you seriously, I mean, you have to be surprised yourself at how this played out.
Well, I'm happy about the way it played out. I mean, I was, against, we had 17 people, so that was a lot of people. Some people said it was the finest group of talent ever assembled by any party at any time. I was watching that before I announced, and I said, wow, what am I doing? And it was talent. I mean, some were very talented, frankly, but, it worked out this way, so I'm very happy about it.
You brutalized a lot of them. Jeb Bush, low energy, Ted Cruz, Lion Ted Cruz. I mean, we go down the list. How do you now, especially after yesterday, how do you get people like Ted Cruz to endorse you and unite this party? You're talking about uniting the party. Even yesterday, you were talking about Lee Harvey Oswald. So how do you turn around and unite the party today?
Well, I've gotten a lot of calls from people that were far more brutal than Ted was, and they want to join the team. In fact, I said to them, how can you do that after what you said? They said, don't worry about it. That's not a problem, because they're politicians, it's talk. Yeah. And I've had calls, I'll have to tell you about them, but I mean, calls really wanting to get on immediately. And this was as of a week ago, even 2 weeks ago, when it was looking like we were going to do well.
Do you care if Ted Cruz endorses you?
Well, I think it would be nice. I've been saying for a long time that there's some people that I almost don't want their endorsement, Republicans. I really don't, because it was too rough, and they were too nasty, and I don't think it's going to matter, frankly. It's going to be me, and I am a Republican, and I'll do a good job, and I'll do a great job on trade and on the economy, on jobs, bringing jobs back. And that's, I'll do great. I'll do great on the military, I think.
What do you say about George Will? I mean, he wrote in the column this morning that it's a conservative's a duty to make sure you lose all 50 states. What would you say to George Will?
Well, George is a major loser. He's a dour guy, and nobody watches him. Very few people listen to him. It's over for him, and I never want to support. He's been writing these columns for a year, ever since I announced, and I had a run-in with him when I was in civilian life. I didn't want to go to one of his speeches at Mar-a-Lago. He made a speech at Mar-a-Lago, and I find him to be a very boring person. He's boring and dull, and I didn't go to the speech. There was no reason. I never thought I'd be in politics. I never thought I'd be running. This was 10 years ago. He was at Mar-a-Lago giving the speech, and I said, I just don't want to go, and he wanted me to go, and I just, it was one of those things. I had something else to do. I
so
didn't
you,
go.
you think he's
he
holding
never,
a grudge?
He never forgot it.
Yeah.
And he's a nasty guy. He's a very nasty guy.
Yeah.
But I have talking to you right now, Joe, because look, let's face it. I mean, the guy writes a bad column every time he writes a column. I don't know how often he writes them. I don't, really know. But and the other thing you mentioned, and not only George Will, there are some others. You look at this guy Krauthammer. All he does is bash me. He wanted the war. He talks about, Trump is tough and he may have a fast trigger on nuclear. Let me tell you, I have the slowest trigger there is, but I'll prepare our nuclear because we're not even prepared, but I'll have the slowest trigger.
Actually, Donald, the great irony is, and we've said this, Mika, we've said this before, we actually are going to go into a general election where you have the Democratic candidate that's going to support interventionist policies more than the Republican nominee.
It seems that way.
Well, folks, think of this. A guy like Krauthammer, I watched him last night. He was talking about Trump would be maybe very quick temperamentally. He's the one that was pushing for years the war in Iraq, which was a total disaster, and I didn't want to do it. And, as a civilian, I was totally against it, and should have never, one of the worst decisions in the history of our country, by the way. Perhaps the worst. And then they talk about me with a fast, or they talk about me with temperament. We need a strong temperament right now. The world is laughing at us. We need a very strong temperament.
So let's look ahead to the general. Yesterday, Andrea Mitchell asked Hillary Clinton if she thought you were unqualified to be commander-in-chief. I want to play for you what she said.
Now, my friends, rather than listen to Hillary Clinton, first of all, I'd rather hear a dog bark. Second of all, why would anyone ask Hillary Clinton about qualification to be president? Hillary was not qualified to be an attorney. She was fired from the Watergate investigative team. She was not qualified to be a senator from New York. She got that because her husband was president, and she was a lousy senator. She wasn't qualified to be Secretary of State. She got that to bring the Democratic Party together after Barack Obama defeated her 8 years ago. And she was a lousy Secretary of State. She's not qualified to do anything except lie and take money under the table. So going to her and asking if a guy who has built a $10 billion empire is qualified, it's kind of stupid, right? I told you at the very beginning that MSNBC and the Morning Joe, they don't like conservatives, don't like Republicans, don't like Trump. Seems like they don't like common sense either. We'll be back.
We all know that our government is out of control. What are the points of people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? Liberty Forum and the Freedom Rider says officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Fort Collins Radiator Shop reminds us child abuse is one of America's saddest crimes. Child abuse is not just some other family problem. If you or anyone you know needs help, call your local authority. This message from friends at Fort Collins Radiator Shop, 417 Jefferson Street in Fort Collins, serving the community for over 47 years. For all your radiator repairs, call 970-482-6783. On the air for our children.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, now I know I know you think I know everything. Well, I don't. Come pretty damn close, but I don't know everything. Here's a guy who's been inside the political framework since I was a little boy. His name is Roger Stone. He's about to tell us, as he's telling the folks on Next News Network, how Donald Trump can destroy Hillary Clinton. That's something I want to hear. Let's listen.
Moving on to Hillary Clinton, of course, you have the book, The Clintons' War on Women. For folks watching this on YouTube right now, you can actually go into our archives. We did an extensive interview with Roger on this book. But since the book has come out, what has been the backlash? Obviously, we've seen Hillary now, sort of recoiling in some of her positions. How has the backlash been that you've witnessed on Hillary with this book coming out?
Well, as you probably know, I have been banned by CNN. Prior to the publication of this book, I was occasionally asked to opine there on matters political. But now we have Soviet-style censorship. So Rick Wilson, for example, who calls himself a Republican strategist, but he's not, has on Twitter called for someone to put a bullet in Donald Trump, has accused Ann Coulter of being a prostitute who is having anal sex with Donald Trump on Twitter. He is still an exalted commentator for CNN. I am banned because I'm telling the truth about Hillary Clinton. The other day I was giving a radio interview on BBC. And as soon as I raised the fact that Bill Clinton is a Bill Cosby-type sexual predator, and that Hillary, because she has threatened and bullied and intimidated his victims, either directly, personally, or through the hiring of heavy-handed private detectives, is an accessory after the fact of sex crimes, rather than argue with me or allow me to lay out my point of view, they simply hung up on me at the BBC. So, as Jack Nicholson once said, some people out there can't handle the truth.
So what do you make of the moving forward? Let's just play it out here. Trump gets the nomination, and now it's Clinton versus Trump. How do you foresee the attack vector coming into the foreground with this information in Donald Trump's quiver, if you will?
Well, I think he's already demonstrated a willingness to use it. Only weeks ago, as you know, when Hillary accused him of being a sexist, he shot back very quickly, pointing out that Bill has assaulted women and that Hillary has enabled that, and going on to say that she has actually abused Bill's victims. So Hillary immediately backed off and said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about this anymore." There's zero chance she won't be able to avoid talking about it, or that she will be able to avoid talking about it, because I expect Bill's victims, courageous women like Kathleen Willey and Juanita Broderick and Paula Jones and Christy Zurcher and Helen Dowdy and Becky Brown and many others, to be speaking openly. In the old days, when we only had 3 television networks and where the press could be suppressed, those days are over. If CNN doesn't want to interview these women, that's okay. We'll buy 30-second spots for them to tell their story in between the segments of CNN's program.
Now, you created a PAC. It's called Rape PAC.
Yes, the Rape Accountability Project for Education. And we expect this fall to be putting these women into the public realm where they can tell their own story. And then, as Hillary says, let the voters decide. I totally agree. Let them make a case as to what's happened to them. Let Bill and Hillary deny it, which they will, and then let the voters decide who's more credible.
What happens next when these two come head-to-head? I mean, what are we going to see in the future here?
Well, look, Marco Rubio, Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, John Kasich all said that Bill's sexual history is irrelevant, that it's off the table. Donald Trump doesn't believe that at all, because it's not about Bill, it's about Hillary's active abuse of women in the cover-up of Bill's crimes. I also think Hillary's tenure as Secretary of State, where she has systematically helped install the Muslim Brotherhood in the place of our allies in at least 3 countries. They'd like to do this also in Syria. The fact that her closest aide is most likely a Muslim Brotherhood spy, Huma Abedin, that's going to be an important part of this campaign. Voters need to know that her parents and her brothers are active in the radical Islamist terrorist movement. Americans need to know that. You're going to see a complete deconstruction of the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative. This is not a charity. This is a slush fund for grifters. This is a luxury travel service for the Clinton family. And more importantly, this is a vehicle for the facilitation of multi-million-dollar bribes. Everything Hillary Clinton had control of as Secretary of State was for sale. If you were an international oil company or a person of enormous wealth or an international company, you could purchase the removal of Gaddafi, for example, which was purchased by bribes to the Clintons. You could buy multi-million-dollar defense contracts that needed approval at the Secretary of State's office. You could buy approval for arms purchases that were previously illegal by giving million-dollar contributions to the Clinton Foundation. Donald Trump has the gumption and the facts to expose all this. So I think the Clintons are aware of the fact that Trump is their worst enemy, their worst nightmare. Unlike these other Republican candidates who are in the tank, who are in the same club with the Clintons, no holes will be barred. Trump is a brawler and he has the facts. This is going to be one of the most exciting and most hard-fought presidential campaigns in American history.
Now, what about the email server? I mean, you brought up a laundry list of ways that Hillary Clinton can be taken down. We haven't even talked about the server. The FBI is investigating her. What's going to happen there?
Well, I don't think we know. I'm still confident the FBI director, who is a straight, by-the-book law enforcement guy, is going to recommend her indictment. I'm also fairly comfortable that Barack Obama will pardon her relatively quickly. She's never going to go to trial. And then the question remains, is he pardoning her in return for her dropping out of this race? Or is he pardoning her so an indictment and a trial is not a barrier to staying in this race? That's the part we don't know. In any event, I expect the FBI director to resign. Who knows, perhaps 20 or 30 FBI agents will resign with him, and you're going to have a firestorm. Either way, this is not a net plus for Hillary Clinton. Now, I think there's two different aspects of the email scandal people need to understand. These emails were erased largely because they show the nexus between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation. They are a paper trail that shows that it was a pay-for-play operation. And if you wanted to buy the right to buy guns, and you needed the State Department to approve that, you simply had to grease the Clinton Foundation. Then secondarily, of course, is the fact that the emails, many of them, contained top-secret classified information. Huma Abedin is a spy for the Muslim Brotherhood, someone who is not a loyal American, someone who needs to become a household name in this campaign, was the individual who reviewed all those documents. So how many of them did she send to the Muslim Brotherhood or to foreign governments before they were destroyed? I doubt her loyalty, and the American people will doubt her loyalty once her background and her connections are fully exposed.
Now, you mentioned Benghazi, and of course, we know now from the emails that it was revealed on her server, an unsecure server, that she actually revealed the location of Christopher Stevens, the ambassador who was then murdered. Now, she comes out and she has a serious gaffe on the campaign trail, completely disregarding his death. I mean, she literally said, we didn't lose a single person in Libya. What does that tell us about Hillary Clinton's mental state?
Yeah, I think she's somewhat delusional. Look, many people thought that her testimony before the House was a tour de force, that she came out unscathed. On the contrary, she was nailed with at least 5 lies. In all honesty, as a professional, I could take her testimony, I could edit them into 30-second TV spots with an actual bite of her line, and then show you the facts. She told us that the attack on Benghazi and on our mission was caused by an anti-Islamic video in Turkey. We now know that that entire lie was invented by Sidney Blumenthal, the dirty trickster who was on the payroll of the Clinton Foundation. Why a charitable organization would need a dirty trickster, I don't really know. And we also know that within hours of the actual attack, she told her daughter and the Egyptian ambassador that we were attacked by a group affiliated with Al-Qaeda. So again, she's been caught in another massive lie.
My friends, telling massive lies is what Hillary Clinton does best. And I've said it before and I'll say it again because it's the truth. Anyone who votes for her has got to be an ignoramus. Let's get some news. Item from the Associated Press. Dateline, Indianapolis. Donald Trump, the GOP presidential nomination virtually in hand, signaled a new phase of his outsider campaign on Wednesday that includes a search for a running mate with experience governing and outreach to one-time competitors in an effort to heal the fractured Republican Party. On that, though, there are exceptions. I'm confident I can unite much of the GOP, Trump said Wednesday on NBC's Today Show, as several prominent Republicans said they prefer Democrat Hillary Clinton over the New York billionaire. In a shot at his critics, Trump added, quote, "Those people can go away and maybe come back in 8 years after we serve 2 terms. Honestly, there are some people I really don't want." Stop. My friends, let me spend the next 4 minutes before the commercial on this point because it's vital. If you want to vote for Hillary Clinton, if you agree with her worldview and you think she's just the cat's pajamas, you think she'll do a good job, then vote for her. Of course, you should also slam your head into a wall, but if you like Hillary Clinton and her policies, vote for her. If, however, you are a Republican and a conservative, and rather than vote for Trump, you vote for Hillary Clinton, well, then you're worse than an idiot. Make no mistake about it, you're an idiot if you know better and still vote for Hillary. Because by your own estimation, by your own judgment, you are betraying this country. Your judgment has told you that a conservative ideology and conservative policies will bring the best outcome for America. But then by supporting and voting for Hillary, you're saying you don't want the best for America. Indeed, you want what will inevitably end up as tragedy for America. So let me pose a question here. If you're deciding that you want tragedy for America, simply because of your ego or some kind of mental bubble that's in your head, if you decide you want what's bad for America, how are you different than the jihadis who are here trying to destroy America? Than the illegals who come here trying to suck the life out of America like a parasite? How are you different from the people who don't feel like working? They just want to sit on the couch, throw bonbons in their mouths, and watch Jerry Springer for the rest of their lives. All these people want what's bad for America. That college professor who wants to shut down free speech. The cops on the beat who are tasing and pepper spraying innocent people. All these folks that I'm mentioning want what's terrible for America. And if you're a Republican planning to vote for Hillary, then you do too. You're turning your back on America. You're damning America. You're harming America. You're harming yourselves and your children and your children's children and your neighbors. You're doing all this damage, and you're one of the people who knows better, so you're doing it intentionally. The people who like Hillary Clinton and think she'll be great, they're dumbbells. They just plain don't know any better. They don't know enough to come in out of the rain. But you do. So if you stand out in the rain, it's not because you're stupid. It's because you want to get wet. And if you were a Republican or a conservative and you decide to vote for Hillary, then I have no respect for you whatsoever. You are a traitor to this country. I'm being very serious now. You're intentionally doing what you know will harm America. And if that's what you want to do, then get the hell out. We'll be back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948 or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz or call us at 303-829-5948.
Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities as modest emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
All right, guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. Howard Riell, spinning truth for an hour a day, 4 days a week. By the way, also in my book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. You can find it just about everywhere online, barnesandnoble.com, virtualbookworm.com, amazon.com. You can't spit without hitting this book, and you'll love it, so read it. Item from the Xinhua Chinese News Service. U.S. Republican candidate Donald Trump has virtually secured the nomination with a win in Indiana Tuesday night. Experts say he could even beat likely Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton in the presidential race if he can tone down his explosive rhetoric. The brash businessman cruised to an easy victory, blah, 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 while many, blah, blah, blah. While Trump has a high negative rate, the rate at which people dislike a candidate, those of Clinton nearly as high, as a number of Americans find her stiff and unapproachable, and see her as someone who does not understand the needs of ordinary Americans. Unquote. Folks, Hillary Clinton understands the needs of Hillary Clinton. Item from InfoWars. Fresh off his massive victory in Indiana, presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump told MSNBC's Morning Joe earlier today, that's what we were listening to before, he would stick by his controversial policy on Muslim immigration because the migrant crisis is, quote, destroying Europe. Trump's proposal to place a temporary halt on Muslim immigration to the United States was perhaps his most incendiary of the campaign, but the New York billionaire shows no signs of walking it back. Asked if he still believed Muslims should be banned from entering the country until we can figure out what's going on, Trump said he didn't care if the policy hurt his chances in a general election. Quote, look at what's happening. It's terrible what they've done to some of those countries where they're going to destroy. They're destroying Europe. I'm not going to let that happen to the United States, said Trump, chiding Obama for refusing to even use the term radical Islamic terrorism. Heralding the fact that a civilian in the truest sense got the nomination of a major party, Trump asserted he'd been guided by common sense and he would continue to follow that path. Stop! My friends, I got another question for you. You know, watching this show is like taking a quiz, because I pepper you with questions. And by the way, if you go to my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio, you'll know that this is a question I posed a couple of hours ago. How many career politicians are there who would do something that's very politically incorrect and possibly politically damaging just because they thought it was the right thing to do? You don't need a calculator. I'll give you the answer. 0. Politicians are whores. They will say and do whatever will get them money and reelected. Case in point, Hillary Clinton. Well, here's Donald Trump standing by what he said originally, because he doesn't blow like a flag in the wind. He means what he says and he says what he means. Sticking with it. He wants to prevent Muslims from coming into the United States temporarily. And I take issue with him about that temporarily part. It's the most controversial thing he said, and he's staying with it. Why? Not because it's bringing him votes. It's not. Not because it's getting him contributions. It's not. He's sticking with it because he knows that's what's best for America. And if you have any other yardstick when it comes to voting for our leaders, you better reassess. Item. From Breitbart on Wednesday's CNN Tonight, journalist and author Carl Bernstein stated there would be, quote, very damaging leaks from the investigation into Democratic presidential candidate, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email, and described her conduct as, quote, what she did was an act of recklessness and entitlement, and there's no excuse for it, unquote. Bernstein began by stating that in the general election, all bets are off, including the usual GOP Dem breakdown is an important factor. Celebrity might be more important than ideology, and, quote, TMZ, Drudge, New Media are going to have a huge role in this, much more than the usual fact-based media. He further said GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump's campaign had expanded from, quote, a nativist, almost neo-fascist campaign to when there, quote, there might be a kind of screw you vote about Washington, about the process that he could be the beneficiary of. And that a lot of Democrats around Hillary Clinton that he talked to were, quote, very worried about running against Trump. And some of the Republican regulars who were part of the Stop Trump movement he talked to pegged Trump's chances against Hillary at least 25%. Stop the nonsense. I'm going to say two things. And because I'm the one saying them, they're important. So listen. Number one, in a head-to-head contest 6 months from now, Donald Trump will crush Hillary Clinton, just like he crushed Ted Cruz and John Kasich and all the rest of them. Number two, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I want you to remember I said this, and hold me to account later on if I'm wrong, but I won't be. Hillary Clinton will not be the nominee in November for the Democrat Party. Hillary Clinton will be indicted before then, and she will drop out of the race in disgrace, and the world, thankfully, will never hear from her again. Remember what I'm telling you, my friends. Mark it down, stick it on your refrigerator door with a magnet. Hillary Clinton will be indicted. She will be out of the race. The Democrats will put up some other yutz to run temporarily, probably Biden, since he's the biggest horse's rectum the Democrat Party has. Hillary Clinton will not run for president in November. She will be indicted. She'll be disgraced. She'll drop out of the race. You heard it here first. Hold me to account if it turns out I'm wrong. I won't be. Item from the Inquisitor. Since the beginning of the Democratic primary season, Bernie Sanders supporters have been complaining about national establishment media skewing their coverage in favor of Hillary Clinton, noting the connections between ownership of those major media outlets to Clinton campaign donations. Stop! Yes, he's right. The media is bought and paid for. The media whores are bought. They work for corporations to pay them big fat salaries. The corporations want Hillary Clinton to be president. The last thing they want is Donald Trump. Why? Because Trump represents you and me. And they don't want that. They'll stop at nothing to prevent that. So the media has been unfair to Bernie Sanders, just as it's been unfair to Donald Trump. Now, make no mistake about it. Bernie Sanders is a wingnut. He is a wackazoid. But that doesn't change the equation. The media has stacked the deck against Bernie, and they stacked it against Donald Trump. Well, Bernie does not have what it takes to overcome that. Donald Trump just has. He's defeated all his political rivals and the RNC and the power structure, including the major media. Isn't that the kind of guy you want running our country? The media is biased, and it's disgraceful. We're going to take a break. I think way in the distance I hear the music coming up to a crescendo. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more Riell Truth. I got more news for you. My friends, head out to Pulse2016.com. Huge news for those in the pro-life movement concerning this year's election. What is the news? I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to make you come back after the break to hear what this big news is. But believe me, it's big news. And if you're pro-life, you're going to want to hear this news. And then you're going to want to share this news. And then you're going to want to go online and find out more. But you see, it's like a snowball effect. But there is big news. And I'm going to have it together with a whole bunch of other stuff. We still got about 19 minutes to go before the show ends. And I intend to make the most of them. My friends, this is Riell Truth. Y'all come back now, you hear? I'm not really from the South. All right, guys, all done. Please share this video. I'll see you tomorrow.